Okay, so we're having an analysis today is 20th of March 2025, 12:38 p.m. Now, the news we're having today is from 1 p.m., which is roughly around 40 minutes, sorry, 20 minutes rather from now. By 1 p.m., there will be news from the United Kingdom, which will affect the British pound. There's going to be a monetary policy summary, MPC official bank rate votes, and official bank rate. Definitely, this is all about interest rates in the United Kingdom. And if the data comes out, I believe all should be actual greater than forecast. But let's confirm. For MPC policy summary, more hawkish than expected is good for currency. So this is a speech. Hawkish means if the data is good, more like if the market is going to go bullish. So we're not having any forecast for actual, so it's a speech. So if it is hawkish, it means the data is good for the pound. And as such, we expect a rally that is a bullish movement on the British pound. And for the MPC official bank rate vote, again, more hawkish than expected is good for the currency and for the official bank rate. Actual greater than forecast is good for currency. So if the news comes out in such a way that the speech is hawkish than expected, we'll have a bullish movement on the pound. For the official bank rate, the actual greater than forecast, that will also be good for the pound. But for the speeches, we really don't know what the outcome will be until the speech is made. So the one we can put our focus on is the official bank rate. But generally, it is assumed, let me use that word, assumed that if the data comes out good for official bank rate, the speeches will follow in the same direction. And if the data comes out bad for the official bank rate, then the speeches should also follow, in similar direction. So if it comes out all good, we'll be looking at buying the British pound. And at that instance, the official bank rate, the color will be in green for a good data. And as such, we expect a bullish movement on the pound. And on the other hand, if the data comes out bad, then it will be on a red color where we'll expect a decline, a sharp decline in the price of the British pound. We'll still look at the charts to see what is still the possibilities in the market. And by 1:30 p.m., the Bank of England Governor Bailey speech. So the Bank of England Governor Bailey will give a speech by 1:30 p.m. And now this particular speech will now run simultaneously with unemployment claims and fully fed manufacturing index from the United States. Now this is actually the major news today. Though later today by 3 p.m., there will also be the existing home sales from the United States. But then if you look at the fully fed manufacturing index and the unemployment claims, both of them are not really related like that. So for the unemployment claims, the usual outcome is actual less than forecast good for the currency. So if the data comes out good for the currency, we're expecting a bullish movement, and that's for unemployment claims. And if the actual is greater than forecast for fully fed manufacturing index, we're equally expecting a bullish movement. But to make it easier for ourselves, just focus on the color. The data comes out good for the dollar, it will be green, and that will lead to bullish movement. And if it is less than or bad for the dollar, the color is going to be in red, and that will lead to a decline in the dollar. So that's all we can show us on the Forex Factory page. We'll go over now to the chart to see what the directional buyers is saying concerning these specific instruments that we're looking at, as the pound and the dollar, and how we have to prepare ahead of this news event. Now, I'll start with the dollar. Now, the dollar index has been trading around the support level. In this instance here, we have a resistance turned support. And price recently bounced upon touching that very key level, resistance turned support here. Today, we've seen some bullish movement on the dollar. This is the dollar index. So we check the USD CHF. All right. So this is the USD CHF. We go to the daily time frame. We can clearly see that price actually hits this support zone. And against that support zone today, we've seen some bullish movement on the USD CHF on the daily time frame. If we switch over to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that, yeah, price hit the support zone, and formed a double bottom pattern, which is a bullish pattern. So if the data today comes out all good for the dollar, then we'll see a bigger bullish movement on the dollar. So if by 1:30 p.m., let me confirm the time again, by 1:30 p.m., the data comes out, unemployment claims come out for the dollar, daily Fed manufacturing index comes out for the dollar, we should see a continuation move on the dollar. Because we have price hitting a support and forming a double bottom. And the neckline of the double bottom is already broken. So the dollar is actually ready to fly. However, the news can still determine. If the news comes out good, then you can trigger a buy dollar. So we're bullish on the dollar, specifically on the USD CHF, ahead of the news events we're having this afternoon from the United States. And for the pound, we're looking at the GBP AUD. The British pound / the Australian dollar is what we're looking at trading for the GBP news this afternoon. All right, so this is the GBP AUD on the weekly time frame. You can clearly see that price is trading at a confluence point. We have a resistance on the weekly time frame, and we have a rising wedge pattern that is forming on the weekly. And price is just trading at the confluence of that spot right here. One, we have the resistance, the trend line, and a pattern that seems to be forming a double top pattern on the daily, which is expected to lead to a reversal. But that's until the news is released. Now, because price is currently at this spot where the trend line, the resistance is meeting, that is a strong point where we expect a reversal. Because generally at resistance levels, we do expect a reversal in the market. So if we flip down to the 4-hour time frame, we should still see that price is trading at that same confluence point. So if the data from the United Kingdom comes out bad for the pound, then that will trigger a sell on the GBP AUD. Now, this should affect other GBP pairs, but the one I have clarity on at the moment, or the one that is best suitable for this at the moment, is this GBP AUD. So I hold a bearish outlook on the pound ahead of the MPC official bank, MPC and official bank rate vote and the interest rate events coming up in the United Kingdom by 1 p.m. exactly 15 minutes from now. So I hold a bearish outlook on the pound for that event. And finally, I'll take us to the US oil. The US oil, I'm anticipating a bearish movement on the US oil. Now, some statement were credited to Donald Trump recently, where he was saying that one of the reasons why the war between Russia and Ukraine has been sustained is because a lot of countries are also benefiting from the crude oil part of it. So he said he was going to speak with OPEC to bring down the price of crude oil. Now, okay, let me quickly find the US oil chart so that I can explain this better. All right. Now, this is the US oil. So you can see that this instrument has been dropping in value for quite some time. And if Donald Trump is able to pull through with what he's saying, we might expect further decline in the price of crude oil. If you observe in Nigeria also lately, there has been some reduction in the price of crude oil. It doesn't really mean that the government is doing anything extra or Dangote is a nice man. No, it's because in the global market, the price of crude oil has been crashing. You can see the crash here. It's been dropping rapidly in the last, let me see now, since the beginning of the, let's see, the highest point here was in January. Since the middle of January, in the global market, the price of crude oil has been dropping. So that may lead to a further crash in crude oil. Though the Nigerian situation is a lot different, because if we are following the news, it's clear that in some very short time from now, the refineries will not be able to buy crude oil, get it in dollars anymore. The exchange rate will now be, will not be in naira anymore, rather, or in dollars. So there's projection that there might be increase in the price of fuel in Nigeria. But that's the Nigerian situation. In the global market, the price currently might be dropping. So looking at the chart on the US oil that I'm showing us at the moment, we discover that price closed yesterday, 2 days ago rather now, as a rejection candle right here. And that rejection candle coincides with a previous support zone. It's quite close to this. There's a support zone here between these two. All right. So there's a support on resistance zone between these two regions. Okay. So technically that should give us, or that should lead to an opportunity to sell the US oil. And that's on the daily time frame. I'll flip down to the 4 hour. And this is my outlook on the 4 hour. All things being equal. I have a rising wedge pattern right here, which is everything is pointing to a bearish breakout, and 2 rejection candles here that have also formed a minor resistance in that axis, all pointing to the fact that we should be expecting a drop in the price of crude oil. However, I will look at entry if price is able to break out below this support zone here. So if price is able to break out below that minor support zone I just drew now, you are safe to take a sell on the US oil. Yeah, the price should move within just these 2 zones. And that can generate as much as, on the average, about 60 to 80 pips thereabouts can be generated on that. So put your attention on the US oil. We're expecting the possibility of a bearish breakout. All right, so that'll be all from analysis this afternoon. I've looked at 3 major instruments. I said for the dollar, for the news on the dollar this afternoon, I'm bullish on the USD CHF, and on the pound, I'm bearish on the GBP AUD. I've also analyzed the US oil, where I'm expecting a potential bearish movement on US oil. So I'll attend to a few questions as we round up this session. Solomon is asking me to check GBP JPY. GBP JPY. All right. All right, so this is GBP JPY. Let's start our top-down analysis from the weekly time frame. All right, now you can see that this week candle is currently trying to form, this is a weekly time frame, it's trying to form a rejection candle, but the week is yet to be over. Anything can still happen between today and tomorrow. And if I draw my trend line, I can clearly see that that rejection candle is actually touching the trend line on the weekly time frame. These are lower highs, and you can go down to the daily. On the daily, this is actually a shooting star, which is a bearish reversal. And there's a resistance line here also. All right, so we're having a very perfect confluence that will lead to a reversal on the GBP JPY. Now, this is a 4-hour time frame. Some bearish movement has taken place already. All right, so we have a rising wedge pattern. However, price hit Fibonacci 38.2 and is trying to do a kind of a retracement. Now, this is my view. I believe this is going to sell, but then it needs to be traded with a lot of caution. The first caution is, now RSI is clearly below 50. For this kind of scenario, I will advise you wait for MACD to be below 0. And at the point MACD will be below 0, it also means that price has broken this Fibonacci level 38, and there's a new candle that's opened below it. That's when you can trigger a sell on the GBP JPY. And it's a swing setup. What I'm seeing is swing. So if you can be patient to wait for that to happen, then you can take a sell. And if it doesn't, get to that level this week, obviously next week might be the best time, because if the candle can close by tomorrow, if the weekly candle can close tomorrow as a rejection candle, as what we're seeing, if it can close as a rejection candle tomorrow, that will be a strong indication that it's going to sell next week. So sometimes patience is key, especially if you're a swing trader, you understand this. But then if you want to do it, if it happens today, tomorrow, you can, as long as price can break that Fibonacci 38 and your MACD rather can cross below zero, that will be a perfect one. Because we need to be careful. JPY pairs can be very volatile and they can spike a lot. And mostly tomorrow being Friday, price may not go in the long-term direction. It may take a retracement. That's what likely happens. So instead of selling, it may even do some buying, possibly. So watch it. But generally, I'm bearish on the GBP JPY. Okay, GBP CAD. Now, most of the pound news, pound pairs, honestly, the news this afternoon will affect them. But the one that I said that I can see a clear setup on is the GBP AUD. For GBP CAD, I am bearish on GBP CAD and even GBP New Zealand, but these are futuristic setup. Now, for the GBP CAD, this is my outlook on this instrument. All right, we can see it on the weekly time frame. We can see we have a rising wedge on the weekly. Nothing much on the monthly, but on the weekly, we have a perfect looking rising wedge. And the candle for last week closed as a rejection candle. Though a bullish one, green, yeah, it doesn't matter. And that's why you can see that the bullish trend is not completely weak yet. It's still trying to buy, at least from Monday till now. But if the news this afternoon comes out bad for the pound, then we'll start seeing a decline, on the GBP AUD, because it's a rising wedge and the rejection candle hits the upper part of the trend line. That's enough to turn it into the reversal, provided the news comes out. But if the news doesn't come out in line with this setup, this is what can happen. Price may go to hit the resistance up here. Assuming the news comes out before the pound, price may go to hit this resistance and possibly the trend line and still look for an opportunity to sell. What I see happening eventually on the GBP CAD is a shoulder, the head, a second shoulder, and a drop. That's what I'm seeing on the GBP CAD. All right, so I'm bearish on the GBP CAD, I'm bearish on the GBP AUD. But for this, like I said, the emphasis is more on the GBP AUD. All right, I think I've attended to all questions. Okay, maybe we should just write on. We have just 4 minutes to go to the news. Let's wait and see the outcome of the news. All right, Billions is asking me to check, Billions Unlimited is asking me to check gold and USDX. USDX at the support level is bullish. And if the USDX is bullish, gold technically is having a bearish outlook. I want to be very careful with gold for now because the fundamentals around it is not too stable at the moment. So that's why I've not really bothered to mention much of it. But technically, it's looking bearish. Let me get gold out. All right, so this is gold. Gold can be more fundamental driven. So trade with a lot of caution. On the daily, even the weekly time frame, you can see gold has been trending upwards within this rising wedge, making a series of higher highs and higher lows. And it's touching that trend line. The next week actually technically should be a bearish one. On the daily, the upper part of the trend line, price is already hit it with a rising wedge technically. But like I said, I'm not really giving a signal because except the news from the United States comes out really good. If it comes out real good for the dollar, that's what may lead to a sell of gold. Otherwise, I want to be very cautious. Price has broken the trend line downwards. It's actually in a seller's zone. It is. So if the news comes out by 1 p.m., 1:30, that's the news from the dollar is 1:30 p.m. If the news by 1:30 p.m. comes out good for the dollar, just as we're anticipating, if you're a gold fan, you may sell gold under that condition. Technically, it's bearish. So I hope I've answered the billions unlimited. Simon, like I said, we're bullish on the dollar index. So I've repeated that many times. So I think I've attended to all questions. So if you're on the platform today, you don't have an account with PU Prime, please head over straight to our website, www.puprime.com, open a live account. You can get the best of PU Prime when you have a live funded account and you join our funded clients group. So if you're there, you have a live account, you don't have funds in your account, you are still not maximizing PU Prime. We drop signals in our funded group, more signals that will help you grow your account within a very good period of time. So make sure you have a live account, but most importantly, fund your account. And when you fund your account, reach out to your account manager requesting to be added to the funded clients group. All right, so I'll flip over now. We have less than a minute to go to the news. Like I said, we're bearish on the GBP AUD. Now, I'll flip down to 15 minutes time frame. And if price is able to, let me go down even to 5 minutes. If the data comes out back for the pound, may trigger a sell once price is able to hit this region and put in the lower line. That's a 2.05854. Okay, we have just about 10 seconds to go. Can catch 6 seconds, about 30 pips. Can see it's already trying to sell. But let's just see. We don't know the data yet. Okay, the data is released already. It's going up. Let's check. Okay, the data came out actual equal to forecast. All right, so that's not a tradable one. The data comes out actual equal to forecast. There's nothing to bother much about that. It didn't come out with that expectation. But notwithstanding, from a technical standpoint, I still anticipate a reversal in pound. So this is GBP. This is the news on the pound. You can see here is actual equal to forecast. It didn't come out as expected. But then I still strongly believe with time should anticipate a reversal on the pound. So GBP AUD is going up. The others too may go up, but they will hit resistance levels and eventually we'll see reversal because we are taking the signal more from the weekly time frame where the price closed as a rejection candle last week. So let's still be hopeful that would anticipate some reversal. So that didn't go as planned, but then it wasn't a loss. It didn't go in our direction at all. All right, so we'll move. We'll wait for the next news in the market. All right, that'll be all from my end this afternoon. Watch the US oil, the crude oil, and also the USD news by 1:30 p.m. We're actually bullish on the USD. All right, take care and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.